It's a cocktail party on the beach, my friends. A cocktail party? You were not invited. That's right, all of these little sea ducks kind of hang out here most of the day, sunning themselves, drying themselves until feeding time. And that's on the private beaches of Florida. Howdy, folks. Dave Man here, Rollman Revolution. I figured I'd record a video in the honor of 9/11, as many of the mainstream are basically avoiding this topic or talking about it in a way to try to prop up this new attack against you, the American people. That's right. See, over the next few weeks and months to come, you're going to realize exactly which line in the sand you stand on, if you haven't figured it out yet. And the reason why I'm saying that is because either you're going to be on the side of these globalists with all of their privileges, whether they can giveth or take them away, or you're going to be on the side of freedom and the MAGA movement, which is basically trying to get those son of a bitches out of office so that we could restore our country back to the way it originally was designed. See, what 9/11 kind of reminds me of, and that is kind of where I had my wake-up call and where so many other people have experienced a wake-up call in the effects of 9/11. And it's because, for good reason, for very good reason. It was one of the more emotional days in American history. Again, and on that day, it would be very foolish to say that you knew exactly what was going on, because none of us did. But we didn't. I remember in the weeks following that day, a lot of stuff just didn't make any sense. Now, granted, I was all gung-ho, really go George Bush, kill those son of a bitch and terrorists, blah, blah, blah. I was just brainwashed like everybody else was until the WMD situation occurred. And that's kind of when I realized, all right, now we're playing with a bunch of gangsters that really don't give a shit what they lie about, how often they lie, who they lie to in order to get what they want. These are very dangerous people we're talking about here. We're not talking about just your everyday Tom, Dick, and Harry. No. We're talking about dangerous people, people that you don't play games with. Okay, these are the gangster type. Now, you hear these constant references to Washington, D.C. and the Biden administration as the Biden Gestapo. Well, that's because they are operating under the same protocols as a mafia would, where you basically go after your enemies, you destroy your opposition, you rewrite the rules and you rewrite the laws as you see fit in order to serve and protect those who are in your camp, while at the same time creating a justice system that attacks the other camp and destroys them, puts them in jail, and then has a media that basically makes it, has the bullhorn and announces it to everybody about who to look at. Donald Trump, he's the bad guy, he's this, he's that, he's the other thing. If you haven't figured out by now, and again, most of the people who are probably watching this video have figured it out, but if you happen to be one of those people who are on the fence or undecided, and again, I have no qualms with a person who is still undecided in this whole mess, because again, it is a mess. There is no way to, who to trust anymore. And since 9/11, like I was saying, since 9/11, you can start to see the patterns of the things that these people do. There's no doubt there's a pattern in what they do. They basically pre-plan the idea, then they kind of test it out in small little areas, and then they have a go date. And then when that go date hits, all of a sudden you have all of the key people involved. Again, obviously you have to be able to create a distraction. You have to have agent provocateurs on the ground, kind of guiding and controlling the action. But this is all outlined in the DHS's HSEEP program. The Department of Homeland Security's, I think it's Exercise and Evaluations Program. And if you've never seen the Exercise and Evaluations Program, it's one of the more interesting ones. It basically talks about different areas, controllers, actors, bystanders, background people. They all have specific roles in order to play these reenactments, so to speak. So what I've been arguing for, and many people in the same lane that I've been in for the last 25 years since 9/11, we've been kind of going down these rabbit holes simply because the information that has been provided to us is all bullshit. It's bullshit because if you really look at the data and you start looking at how things really operate, You can tell that the information that they shared with us on how those buildings fell, why they carteled off the steel and sent it to China almost immediately after, it's a crime scene. But yet they got rid of all of the crime scene material. Okay, and then they dropped a few engines here and there because there was no engines, there was no plane, there was no nothing. So all of a sudden, a plane engine. It just so happened to be the wrong plane engine for the planes that supposedly crashed there that day. This is the problem with this whole thing. When you start to get government involved, I told you, government is not good at doing anything fucking right. They're good at starting wars, they're good at creating bullshit and propaganda, but they're not really good at managing and controlling everything. That's why we're spent into an oblivion right now. They spend money, the amount of money that the United States government brings in every single year from its taxpayers is ridiculous. And if you knew the amount of money that they just piss away and give to these research and development companies, give it to people like Elon Musk and all these other people that are just using grant money, federal tax dollars, to build their empires. And do they give anything back to you? No, they don't give anything back to you. None at all. That's what I said, this whole situation should be a wake-up call for a lot of people. We're living in very, very dangerous times, dealing with dangerous men that are willing to do anything it takes to take you and anyone leading you out. And this isn't a joke anymore. This isn't a game. I mean, it's a game, but they're not playing as if it's a game. They're playing as if this is a life or death situation for them. You don't push the envelope to these realms unless you're willing to go all out. I mean, these people have broken every law you could possibly imagine. And we're not talking about, just, a small little, a clerical error, or, I didn't pay taxes on something. No, we're talking about embezzlement. We're talking about, sleeping with the enemy. We're talking about basically selling secrets. We're talking about treason to the highest level. And what do we have going on in Washington, D.C. right now? Not a fucking thing. Not a fucking thing. So my problem with that is that when you have a government that decides not to act on laws that are obviously being violated, people that are obviously involved in nefarious activities, and you have a government who is in power, put in power by the people, for the people. Guys like McCarthy, Comer, Jordan, and there is nothing happening. And then you have guys sitting who claim to be Republican conservatives who believe in the GOP and take money from the RNC, which is given by big donors to represent the specific, cartel of people. Conservatism, hold back. When you start to realize that those guys and gals that show up every single day, that claim that they're for you and representing you, they're just stealing your money. And they work for other people. And if those son of a bitches don't start doing what they're supposed to be doing right now, which is getting people like Mayorkas, getting people like Joe Biden, getting people like, what the hell's that other little ferret? The one that almost ended up on the Supreme Court, Merrick Garland. Those three individuals right there alone have broken and abused the justice system and our laws to violate the very foundation that this country stands for, and you are doing nothing. Mayorkas literally sat there in front of the committees laughing with a smirk on his face like you're not going to do a goddamn thing. And part of me believes he's right, because we have gutless son of a bitches working in Washington, D.C. that don't do what they claim they are going to do. Now, this is an issue of trust. This is an issue of leadership, trust, but also loyalty. And you can see what has happened over the course of the last, 60 years since JFK took a bullet to the face. You think about that. The President of the United States was shot in broad daylight. And over the last 60 or so years, we have learned little bits of crumbs. This is the President of the United States, and we have people within our own government wanting to hide what it is that happened to that man. Why would they want to do that? Look, like I said at the top of this video, you were dealing with gangster type people We're not talking about politicians are puppets. They're actors. These people that just stand on the stage that kind of do their song and dance and work for a specific entity, whether it be special interest or some lobbying firm, whatever. They're basically just installed. We can recognize them and we can pull them out. It's the ones that you think work for you. The trans Republicans, the ones that get in there. And then once they get in there, they just knife you right in the back. Yeah, that's the stuff that we can't have anymore. And that's why I said it's America. If you haven't recognized that I am on your side, I am on your side. I'm not on a Democrat side, Republican side. I'm on your fucking side. I am battling every single day just like you are. We are in the same boat and we are all seasick, my friends. It's just a matter of realizing what the fuck is going on and then just taking some action where you live, okay? These people are cowards. They are cowards, and if you stand up and pull your chest up and you all get there together, they're gonna fucking shrivel like a raisin in front of you. But they need to know that people are aware and that they're willing to fight back. Up to this point, status quo. They believe you're a dumb son of a bitch and you're not gonna do anything about it. Prove them wrong. Fight back. This message is for Kevin McCarthy, Jim Jordan, Comer, and the rest of the Republicans that are seated in the primary position on the committees in this United States. I just have one small thing to say to you, and that is you need to move your fucking ass. How about that? It's a very simple action to do. It requires minimal effort. Most children can do it. It's a matter of getting up off your two legs and walking in the direction towards whatever you need to do in order to start following the laws of the United States of America. You have multiple people breaking laws on the books, rewriting laws, sending it to courts and having the judge interpret the law in his own damn way, even though primary statute this and other subsections said this. It doesn't matter. It's like the law doesn't matter anymore in America, and that you guys are just writing things and just doing things whatever you want. It's criminals protecting criminals in DC. I figured that maybe Republicans getting into office this time, they might want to actually try to clean things up. But no, you obviously have, you showed your cards. You've told basically everybody what it is that you do now. You know, one side over here plays this side and the other side plays this side. But at the end of the day, if anybody is going to jeopardize our little crap game, well, you know, we all just pull together and make sure that the game in and of itself is protected. I must be getting really nervous because I really starting to think that you know rightfully well who is in charge of this country. And it's the people that are waking up to realize that. See, they already have the power. It's just the recognition of power is what is lacking. And like I said many times over, and I'm not the first person to say it and I won't be the last, that in every movement, okay, it's the 1%, the thought leaders, that take us into the specific directions that we end up going. And it's the activists directly working with those thought leaders that get that information out. But you think about it, it's a very small percentage that actually gets it going. It's the masses. If you can get control or actually get the attention of the masses, and I've said before, truth is not something you have to jam down anybody's throat. If it's something truthful and good, people will steal it naturally. They'll want to incorporate it into their life because they recognize truth. People don't have to be explained the truth because it's very, very apparent. The problem with our media is that they suppress truth. They lie to us about truth. They don't show us the whole truth. So you're making assumptions based upon very, very small amounts of information or not the full story. It's a reality that we're living in now. It's a reality that is destroying who it is we are as a country. And this all stems back to the fact that we have an institution in Washington, D.C. right now that doesn't represent you. They think you're a fucking moron and an idiot, and they think that you're not going to do a damn thing about anything. And you haven't thus far, so why would they assume anything different? But I keep saying it's that 1/3. And that's what I've said before. Many people before me, many people after me are going to say the exact same thing. It's the 1/3, and then it's the 1/3 that follows behind it. See, right now, the army of the awakened is building. And what they're trying to do is to get Donald J. Trump in prison before the army awakens. And they may very well be successful in that effort. But here's the deal. If you think, even if you get Donald Trump in prison or put all of the other people that support Donald Trump in prison, do you think we're going to stop? You've already opened the can of worms. You've already, initiated the genie in the bottle, okay? You know this is not going to end. You have already went way past the event horizon. You've already woken up the sleeping giant. You've already kicked dirt in the face of every American mother in this United States, and yet you still think somebody's going to come to the aid. No, the only way this Marxist globalist power in Washington, D.C. wins is if you do nothing. America, if you do nothing. That's the only way. Edmund Burke did say the best quote of all time, and that is, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing, good women to do nothing, whatever. But the point being, you do nothing, you can guarantee the result you're going to get. You get your fucking ass involved and you change the goddamn game. It's amazing. And here's the thing, the people that always said that they hated politics, I hate politics, politics is sucking. Once they go down to these things and they realize, oh, this isn't politics. This is the same shit that happens in my household, on the streets, in a drug deal. It's the same bullshit going on inside the RNC and inside these executive committees. You're damn right. See, if you got some street smarts, I'm telling you, you're the best person to go down and become a committeeman, because you know what? You're the last person that somebody's gonna try to pull bullshit over. No, we need some street smart people. We need some people who just have a voice, who are outspoken and are not afraid to look at the information. They're not afraid to have an open mind. They're not afraid to look at everything and then make a decision based upon that. We're just looking for people that want to save America. We're looking for people who believe in putting America before anything else, any other country, because it all starts at home, doesn't it? Like, there's no way in hell that you're going to take care of the next door neighbor's kids if your kids are sitting at home starving, are you? Unless you're a really bad person. No, you're going to take care of your family first, and that goes the same with the country. We can't be giving trillions of dollars in aid over the course of years to foreign countries when Americans are sucking wind. And they want you to still show up to your job and your second job. And then they laugh about, oh, look, that guy's got 3 jobs, he's trying to survive. Oh, isn't that American? That's uniquely American. No, it's not. That's slave labor and you know it. And the fact that you're laughing about it. The Bush junta and those fucking people down in Texas, what they're doing to Ken Paxton, and all, it's all a game. It's all a game to them. They are shitting on the Constitution. They're writing the new laws as we speak. They're gonna basically take that Constitution, rip it up, and provide you with a new UN charter, which basically gives you privileges, not rights. And that's the reality that we are heading towards if you do nothing. And again, this all comes down to if 1/3 more of the United States population wakes up and then just starts going. That's why I said I would love to get those black women who really know, like, again, you get a good black woman all pissed off and knowing about the issues, she ain't not gonna shut the fuck up. She's gonna tell you exactly what she feels. And that's what I said. That's what I love about culture. The one thing that we always shit on in this country is about culture. Like, what's wrong with liking black? What's wrong with living in a black culture? What's wrong with living in a white culture? What's wrong with living in an Irish culture? What's wrong with living where you feel comfortable? There's nothing wrong with being black. There's nothing wrong with being white. There's nothing wrong with being whatever you are. The only thing wrong with it is when you start to basically beat the shit out of another person because that's what they are. And 99.9% of lucid Americans don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. We don't care. But the media will tell you that that's all that matters. What Democrats run on, they run on racism, they run on sexism, they run on all these isms, these movements, these anti-movements to divide you and me. They're counting on it. They're counting on you and I to beat each other over the head over shit that doesn't matter. Now, we gotta wise up, my friends, because you know what? It's you and me versus those motherfuckers. You and me versus them. And you know what? I'd go to battle with fucking American patriot any day of the week. Any MAGA patriot, I would be more than happy to share a freaking arm with, man. I swear to you, because these people actually love their country. I sheerly doubt any Democrat right now who trusts the actual party and the people that they have truly believe in anything like that. So This is a decision you have to make. The decision comes down to you. But it comes down to getting involved where you live. That's it. That's the answer. End of file. So I hope to see you on the battlefield, my friends. Get involved where you live. Only takes a few moments. And we need some streetwise people, some people that really know what's going on the street. Somebody, who can detect bullshit from a blimp in a fog storm. You got that kind of skill, that's exactly what we need down in those precinct committees. We need people willing to call the shit out and tell it like it is. Anyway, I rambled on enough. Hope to see you guys out there soon. It's getting hot out here. Oh, Florida heat, you gotta love it. Take care, my friends. We'll see you soon.